Afternoon, good evening. Good morning, beloved. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is that you are watching the broadcast. Hello, 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 hello. It's wonderful to connect with you. Wonderful to say hi. Hello, how do you do? What's going on with you? What is happening? Blessings, 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 and more blessings to you. Blessings, 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 and more blessings. I speak unto you. Welcome, 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 welcome. For those who will be live, yes, 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 let's do it. Let's make it do what it do. For those who will hashtag it and replay it, I love it, I love it. For those who will be on, I don't know you on and I might not never know you on, I could appreciate that. And then for those who will be used by Papa at some point down the road to encourage this girl, let's make it do what it do. Let's make it do what it do. Okay? Let's make it do what it do. All right, all right, all right, all right. So when you think about this notion of life, choosing life, choosing the optimal, choosing the most, getting the best. Morning, Brian. Thank you, sis. Good morning. Choosing to make the most out of life, choosing to get the best that you can out of life. What does that look like for you? What does it look like to get the best, to make the most? What does it look like to get your optimal out of life? What does that look like for you? And so when we think about this idea of making the most out of life, of getting the most out of life, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? What becomes your focus, right? Now, we don't get to control all of what happens in life, but we get to control a lot of what happens as it relates to us. We don't get to control all of what happens, but we do get to control a lot of what happens as it relates to you, as it relates to me. So when you think about the notion of choosing the thoughts and words that provide the best in life, choosing your thoughts, choosing your words that increase the likelihood that it's going to provide you with your best possibilities in life, the best possible life that is available for you. Choosing your thoughts, choosing your words. So what are those? What are those? Um, um, so scripture talks about, it encourages us to think on these things and to meditate, right? Day and night, right? If you meditate on these day and night, right, you should be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, right? Um, so when we think about where we put our thoughts, um, where we put our thoughts, um, where we put our energy, where we put our words, what we focus on, what we engage in, right? It's going to make a difference, right? It is going to make a difference. So you get to choose, right? Again, we don't get to choose everything that happens, but we do get to choose. Um, we do get to choose how we respond, right? And that's going to be determined by what we've given our attention to. How we respond is going to be determined by the thoughts that we've had, and by the words that we say to ourselves. So thoughts really are still words, but they're inner words, right? They're not external. But then we have the opportunity to hear it again. Good morning, Erica. Hey, honey bun, love you back. Good morning, cousin. Welcome, welcome. Love you too. Then we have the so when you think it, that's word, those are words, but those are internal words. But then when you say it, that's your second time of hearing it, right? If you say it out loud, that's your second time of hearing it. If you write it, it's your third time, right, of hearing it. And so we have to like censor our own self. Censor our own self. Like, what are the words? What are the words that for you is off limits? What are the internal and or external words that are simply off limits, that are no longer available for you to they're no longer available for you to, what am I trying to say? They're no longer available. Oh, they're off limits. I'm distracted this morning, y'all. I'm distracted. Let me get focused. Focus, Kathy. Focus, focus, focus. Okay. So as you think about words, internal words, whether you're thinking about the words that you literally say where other people can hear, and those aren't the most important words as far as I'm concerned. The most important words are the ones you say to yourself. Those are the most important words, right? Those are the most important words, the ones that you say to yourself, right? Those are. And so as you think about those words, good morning, Ray Price. Good morning. Do those words move you towards your best possible life? Do they move you towards your best possible life or not? Do you see? Do they move you towards your best possible life? So choose your thoughts. What is the most? So when you think about your thought life, what's the predominant subject of your thought life? What do you think about more often than not? What do you give your attention to more often than not? Now, I understand that life is life and life happens and different things occur. I understand that. But what what's I going to say? But even when things are happening that are challenging, right? Even when things are happening that are challenging, what we think about can better help us to navigate it. Do you see? So so when I talk about our thoughts and when I talk about our words, I am not talking about being in denial. I am not talking about not dealing with stuff. I'm not talking about avoiding reality, because we do have to deal with the stuff. We have to navigate what's actually before us. But this is the thing. We don't get to, we don't want to speak death to a difficult situation already. Like we don't want to say, well, it's just going to be horrible anyway. So what's the point? Or I just might as well. No. We can say something like, we can talk about where we are. Like I feel saddened by this, or I feel pressured by this. And I'm looking forward to. Do you see? We can stay where we are, but we always have to have a press to where we want to go. Right? If where we are is not where we want to be, we always, and so we can ask for help. We can ask for help. We can ask for help from God. We can ask for help from, our family and friends. We can ask for help from professionals. We can ask for help, right? I'm just inviting, and speaking like, okay, I need support here, and we can leverage the being that we are in asking for questions that will lead us closer to that which we desire, right? And asking for questions that like, okay, so where is the answer here? How do I find the support that I need? How do I find my answer within me? Okay, Kathy, where's your answer? Do you see it? Because I know you got one. I know that there's a solution. I know that there's a way to get where you want to be. So what does that look like? What does the solution look like? There are lots of things we could do. Like we can visualize what it is that we desire, even if what we desire is, so sometimes the situation is out of our control. We don't get to control the results of the situation. But sometimes what we can ask for, though, is peace, inner peace, strength, more love, more joy in the situation, wisdom. We can ask for wisdom in our situation. Do you see? We can do those kind of things and request those things for ourselves. Yep. Ask for wisdom, ask for joy, ask for inner peace. Ask for how you want to be. No matter what the situation is, how do you want to be? No matter the situation, how do you prefer to be? Yeah, that becomes for me, that becomes the goal so it's the serenity prayer. Let's see. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to make the difference. Grant me the serenity to change the things I cannot, to grant me the serenity yeah, to accept the things I cannot, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And so, when we think about it, choose the thoughts and words that provide the best in life. Now, I'm not saying that this is easy. I'm not saying it's easy, particularly if we all have a particular way that we thought up until this point in our life, and that's our default. That's our default thought. Those are our default words. My question to you is, do the thoughts or the words, do they serve you? Do they serve you? Are they life-giving? Do they help you to move in the direction that you want to move in? Do they help you to have the kind of day, to have the kind of experience that you desire to have? If they do not, then it's time to check them in. Like, check them in. It's time to give them their notice. It's time to say, okay, we're gonna begin the process of turning this ship around. And you're not going to flip it overnight. It's not going to just change and all of a sudden you speak differently, you think differently, you feel differently. No, it's not going to. But you can begin the process. We can begin the process of something different. We can begin the process of something more, right? We can begin the process of change. we can begin that process. You get to choose. I get to choose. We get to choose. We get to choose. So choose you this day, right? Choose you this day. Scripture says who you're going to serve, right? Or think on these things, right? That are lovely and just and pure and virtuous. If there be any praise, that are true, that are honest. Meditate day and night, and you should be like a tree that planted by the rivers of water. So there's so many things that we can give our thoughts to, we can give our energy to, that we can give our focus to. That's much more life-giving than doubt, disbelief, despair. Sadness is sadness. It's an emotion. We have it, and it's okay. And do you see? Your thoughts and your words are powerful. They sow seeds. They create your life. What kind of life do you want? You get to decide. All right, beloved. That's it for the day. At the moment that Abba gave us our breath, me and you, we forfeited, we relinquished. You and I gave up the right to not be amazing. You are an amazing individual, handcrafted by the master. All right, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now. Have a great day.